These 5 bowlers will compete today for the top prize of $16,000 in the $115,000 Denver Open. In 5th place, a rookie competing in only his 2nd PBA tournament, Jerry Kessler. In 4th position, in his 2nd championship round appearance this year, Pete Weber. Our 3rd place qualifier looking for his first win in 5 years, Henry Gonzalez. In 2nd position, a top candidate for the 1984 Rookie of the Year honors, John Gant. And our tournament leader, having won at least 1 PBA title in each of the past 5 years, Steve Cook. That's our field today. Now we're inside the Celebrity Sports Center, and what a tremendous bowling establishment it is. About 20 minutes from downtown Denver, and today I can tell you it's truly springtime in the Rockies. Hello again. I'm Chris Schenkel, and we're delighted that you join us on our second stop of 5 spring tour events. Our field today, lots of varieties, 2 rookies and 2 left-handers. The surfaces here are a little bit different, and who can better explain what the conditions are today than our colleague, Hall of Famer, Nelson Burton Jr. Here he is on our championship pair. Bo?
Thank you, Chris. The lanes that the players bowl on today is a surface they only see once a year, and it's called permalane. And permalane is a synthetic laminated surface that is laid over the original wood lane. Now, the characteristics of this permalane are a little different than a regular wood lane. Number 1, there's no cracks or tracks to affect the roll of the ball. And number 2, in the center of the lane where the oil is, the ball slides a little more than on wood. And on the outside where the dry area is, the ball hooks a little more than a wood. Now, what happens with that is that if a player gets zeroed in and starts shooting real well, he gets a lot of strikes. But if he loses his strike zone, they have a lot of trouble. Now, I believe today's quintet is going to bowl pretty good and shoot some big scores, but we'll find out in just a moment.
The Professional Bowler Spring Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Sharp Electronic Corporation. From
Capital city of Lincoln. He has a tremendous style, very powerful, 6'3", 240 pounds, 27 years old, his first shot on this championship pair. And a powerful ball.
Chris, this tournament has been the 2nd highest scoring tournament of the year. The only tournament that scored higher was in Peoria at the True Value Open. Took a 219 average to make the top 24, so we expect some tremendous scores today.
This is Pete Weber, likable Pete Weber. And Dick Weber's son, and Juanita's son, equals things here, makes everything level. 2 strikes, 2 frames. Pete Weber, 5 years, a member of the PBA, 2 victories. See his signature. Hobbies, basketball.
And he needs to grow a little bit. 5'7", he'd have to be a guard on a midget team. But Peter is really bowling well, Chris. He looks stronger than ever and more concentrated than ever, and I think his career is ready to be skyrocket to the top.
Very proud of this 21-year-old professional. Oh, that'll pump the adrenaline. Pete Weber from St. Louis, Florissant, Missouri, has opened with a double, and now immediately putting the pressure on Jerry Kessler of Seward, Nebraska. His first championship round appearance of his short career, and it's in his only other PBA tournament. He failed to make it out of the Pro Tour qualifier. But he's a veteran of regional telecasts. Hit the 4, 6, 7, 10, and that will welcome you to the Pro Tour.
Right through the heart. He just didn't keep the speed on the ball. The right-hand lane finishes a little bit sharper than the left-hand lane. All the players say that. And there he goes, right through the heart. And big ears, 1,500 to 1 odds. Best thing to do, Chris, is just go for 2 and save the count. Remember, with a strike working, for every pin you knock down, you get credited for 2 in the box score.
And beautifully does what the wise professional will do. But it's an open frame, but he'll bounce right back, I'm sure. But here is a fellow 3 240. Racing fan, so I'll tell you, he'll be ready for the Indianapolis 500 coming up this weekend, exclusively on ABC, same day coverage. Psychologically, Bo, that's important to come back.
Came right back. I think he'll know the mistake he made in the second frame. The advantage is definitely to Pete Weber, although Pete is only 21 years old and Jerry Kessler is 27. The advantage definitely to Pete Weber. He's been around so many years, has 5 years of experience under his belt, and he'll go right for the throat here in the third frame to open up a 34-pin lead.
Now it's a three-bagger. Pete Weber, big backswing, moves to the line in a hurry to get that speed on that bowling ball.
Profile of Pete Weber, 5 steps, takes the whole approach, that high backswing to gain momentum and that drive, and when he comes through, he gets tremendous. All 10 pins back into the mountains right there.
I told him earlier all he had to do was do like you did, Bo, in Florissant when you defeated him on your way to a record-setting victory.
Well, I think he learned something there. He's ready.
He's ready. And in the pocket for 4 in a row. He's overcome a couple of the biggest obstacles in the world to get here.
Win the 16, it's 4 for 5th, 5,000 for 4th, 6,000 for 3rd, 82.50 for 2nd, and the winner will take home $16,000. And Chris, 4 of these players are not eligible for the Firestone. Steve Cook, the only man eligible.
And here is one of the 4, of course. Jerry Kessler, Seward, Nebraska, opened with a strike, then an open frame, came back with a strike, now shooting the 4th. This is the first match. Crossing over and leaving the 3-pin on the right lane. The winner of this match will go against a local favorite, Henry Gonzalez.
Profile of Jerry Kessler. He's very deliberate. It's 6'3", 240 pounds. He gets down in very nice position, has an excellent smooth stroke, but he's just a little soft, kind of babying the ball on the right-hand lane, and he's really opened the door for Pete Weber. Jerry converts here. He'll trail by 44 pins through 4 frames.
It's a spare now for the bowling proprietor from Nebraska. And both he and Pete Weber are wearing wireless microphones, so occasionally we may pick up how they feel about a certain shot. As Pete, dead serious.
Looks like his daddy in that picture, all business. Counting the money, not the pins. That $180 that Jerry Kessler earned was in regional tournaments, the 7 regionals in the PBA. He's in the Midwestern region.
And he truly needed that. And now Pete back up.
Zeroed in on the left-hand lane. Jerry drives all 10 pins in the pit. The pins we're using this week are 3-pound 6-ounce, 3-pound 7-ounce pins. No trouble knocking them down on this smooth permalane surface for the pros.
The top seed at Florissant, Missouri, only to be defeated by Loburn. Look at that. And Dee Dee, his wife, loving it. And that is a 5-bagger for the 21-year-old. This is how he did it.
The trajectory of Pete Weber's ball. He starts at about the 8th board, out to the 3rd board, 6-pin drives out to 10. All the pins in the pit. He's perfect through 5 frames, has a 54-pin lead. Counting off actually the boards on the approach, Chris, there are no boards. There's dots and arrows, and they're just a picture out there that's underneath the surface. They're basically like being painted on, so it takes a little more time to count out the proper place to stand.
Come on, baby.
He is halfway.
He's saying, come on, baby. He knows it's light. He throws one of the greatest strike balls in the game of bowling. He's halfway to the $10,000 for a perfect game, Chris.
All right. Meanwhile, the man that would like to get a string going, he has the start. Striking the 5th, now shooting in the 6th frame, Jerry Kessler.
It only happens your first time in the championship round. Kessler finally made a really nice shot on the right-hand lane. Could have gotten back in the match with a string of strikes. Leaves a solid 10. Watch the 6-pin, the second-hand pin on the right-hand part of your screen. Just fly around the 10. There it goes. Bad break for young Kessler. Across lane. Should make the 10-pin. This fellow's an excellent spare shooter.
All business, Jerry Kessler. Married his wife, he and his wife, Debbie. One child, Travis, 5 years of age. And that figures a lot better than that 64-pin deficit that you see. He is trailing Pete Weber by that margin.
An excellent amateur career in the American Bowling Congress tournament. He's had 6 consecutive years where he averaged over 200. He credits a lot of his good bowling to another top pro from the Big Red State, Bill Straub, who's the coach at the University of Nebraska.
Just didn't come up. Leaving the 2-pin, the man that last night had a must-win situation against Bob Chamberlain and came through to get on the telecast today, 234 to 217. He's in 5th position. Here's his last shot.
Just not quite enough lift. He just nicks the head pin, ends up with an easy spare, the 2-pin. He'll convert this and sit down and watch Pete Weber go for a perfect game. We haven't had one in more than 10 years.
We're at the Celebrity Sports Center in Denver, Colorado. 18 years we have come to this charming city, and we're glad to be back here in '84. More after this. What variety? The figure skating best in the world, Scott Hamilton, Torval and Dean, Bo.
Chris, and 1 mile oval dirt track at over 130 miles an hour. That is really exciting. As here's the local favorite who has been steady all his career, will be coming up meeting the winner of this match, who most likely will be Pete Weber, who has 6 strikes in a row. He's perfect through 6.
Stepping up using more than all of the approaches you see. The heels are both off of it. 7th frame. Thin hit, 2-pin, pressure release, and the fans applaud the 6-bagger, and in competition like this, that in itself is a feat.
Pete sends it wide. It hangs out on that very first, as we usually say, board, but I just say panel in this situation. He leaves the 2-pin as he goes after the spare.
A young man that cashed in 11 of the 13 tournaments he bowled this year for a total of $26,365. He missed 4 tournaments this year.
Also set that scoring record in 1981, where Tom Baker and Pete Weber in the 24 match game play tied for 15-pin and bonus each at 300, the only time it's ever happened in PBA history. So he likes this bowling center, and definitely one of the great stars of the game today.
And now he is faced with a 10-pin on the left lane. So back-to-back opportunities to shoot spares, practice his spares after a 6-bagger. Late in the first match, the winner to meet Henry Gonzalez, then John Gant, and then our tournament leader, one of the 2 left-handers, Big Steve Cook. Kessler watching. Nicely done. Nicely done. Pete Weber. And now, Kessler.
The possibilities in the match, if Jerry Kessler can strike out, he could finish with 215. Pete Weber could bowl a 268. The match not over, but it would take a turn of events with all strikes for Kessler's and a complete failure or fall through by Weber to end up a winner.
And Jerry, first time on national television, showing a lot of cool, because early he was faced with a 4-6-7-10. That would shake up a lot of players, but he went on, and he's been bowling steadily, but he's in against red-hot Pete Weber.
Kessler is stroke reminiscent of the great Jim Stefanich, who still bowls part-time on the PBA Tour. A nice, strong release, but very smooth and methodical.
No, and that one was just like a good, short right-hand punch in boxing. Right on the chin, in the pocket.
The delivery, Chris, you're right. Just nice and smooth. It's a short little swing that he has, but he has a powerful body. Gets the perfect result. As Pete Weber is quickly up a possible 268.
Brooklyn.
Well, as you said, quickly, Bo. In fact, he hurried it.
Well, the match is all but over. If Pete would miss all these pins, he'd still only need 4 pins and 2 balls in the 10th to shut out Jerry Kessler. And it's good for him to every once in a while throw a bad shot. It's difficult to maintain that pace for 90 minutes of trying to throw a strike on every ball. And a little break in the middle of a match sometimes is the breather he needs to get ready for Henry Gonzalez, who will be much tougher than this rookie just bowled.
And it's an open frame coming for Pete, fortunately, late in the match, giving him 214 through the 9th frame. 1982 was a big year for him when he made 8 television appearances, and he won both of his titles in '82. And Kessler is opponent looking for his first, and he'll get it down the road. Newcomer to the tour, but a good one.
That's good.
So Pete Weber has won the first in a long step toward the Celebrity Sports Center Denver Open title. The Professional Bowlers Spring Tour will continue after this message and a word from our local station.
You think I'm tough?
We're in awesome Colorado. Pete Weber started out in an awesome way. 6 strikes in a row, then faltered a bit, but he still won over Jerry Kessler, 232 to 215. Pete with 7 strikes. He'll need them against his next opponent, 32-year-old Henry Gonzalez from nearby Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's the next match coming up, to be followed by winner meeting John Gant and then the tournament leader. Money winners for 1984, Hoosier is still at the top, though.
Ricky Sajak, 78,000, Chris, and his streak of 15 consecutive cashes was broke here as he finished 63rd. Roth was up there, Skidmore again, Mark Baker, Ted Hennis. Where we have 3 more tournaments on the spring. Next week will be in Tucson and Riverside, and the finale for ABC will be the doubles at the Showboat.
All right, now here is 21-year-old Pete Weber of St. Louis, Missouri, qualifying 4th, won his first match, if you just joined us, over Jerry Kessler, 232 to 215. He'll shoot first in his match against Henry Gonzalez.
All right, baby. Come on, hit.
Pete with a wireless microphone. You heard him urging the pins to drop the 710, and they did. Watch again.
Watch this. You want to see some power. Watch the action as the ball, as it goes through the pin, and watch the action of the head pin. There's the head pin. Now watch where it goes. It goes to the left sideboard. It knocks out the 7, comes back across, knocks out the 10. See you later. That's the power that young man has. And what a way to put the pressure on the hometown favorite, the local favorite, Henry Gonzalez. That'll shake up any opponent, Chris.
2 titles for this 32-year-old. That one just didn't come up, leaving the 1-2-4 on the right lane of this championship pair.
Just hung in the thumb. You could see him working with his thumb right there. The ball just slides by. When you don't get your thumb out quickly enough, you don't get the wrist behind the ball, it'll slide by the head pin every single time. Henry, the 1-2-4 is actually a pretty tough spare on these. Remember, we have the synthetic surface, and we saw young Weber get all strikes or all opens, and basically that's what we said at the top of the championship round. That's what it could be.
Gonzalez of Colorado Springs, 5 feet 8 inches tall, 170 pounds, hasn't won in 5 years. He was on our telecast last year. This is the first for 1984. There you see his signature, golf and fishing. Well, he was telling us that the fishing was pretty good in Pueblo, Colorado.
Just caught some bass. He said they're not as big up here as they are down south, but he averaged around 2 pounders, good enough for the dinner table.
Well, and now another stern test, Nelson. This one coming on the left lane, the 1, 2, 4, 10.
Just slides by once again, and it looks like he just didn't get the revolutions on the ball that he needs to make the ball finish, and the way he has to attack this is the same way he did the 1, 2, 4. He has to get the ball on the left side, drive that head pin over in that 10-pin zone, and convert it. 2-1 for the pros.
Oh, that's beautifully done. Sort of a delayed reaction, almost like his hesitation step on his approach. Henry Gonzalez. Watch it again.
Perfect shot. Watch how he drives the head pin over into the 10-pin area, into the sideboard. And that puts a little pressure on Pete Weber. Pete, with that strong strike, put pressure on Gonzalez, and there's certain psychology to professional bowling, as you see Weber's overall record, 15 appearances, 213 average on the championship round.
Come on, ball, hit.
Oh, he loved it. And all of us who know him loved what he did, taking 4 weeks off of bowling. We asked him earlier why and how it has helped his bowling. Here's Pete's answer.
The reason I was gone for 4 weeks of the winter was I had a problem with drug and alcohol, and so I admitted myself to a treatment center in Londell, Missouri, and I straightened myself out, and I feel a lot better, and I'm ready to win again.
Well, it takes a man to nationally television get up and say that, Bo.
Sure does. Said it's been almost 80 days, and he feels great.
Come on. You know, when he said, come on, that sounded like his father, Dick. You know, come on.
He's talking that ball in the previous frame. He said hit, Chris. Well, I'll tell you what, if I threw that much ball down there every time, I wouldn't ask for it to hit. You know it's going to tear the pins apart. It's just a matter of whether they're going to get all down. What a tremendous performance. The first 3 frames, he's got the pressure on Henry Gonzalez.
Gonzalez with a lot of rooters here and a capacity crowd at the Celebrity Sports Center. Looked like it was going to be a thin hit. Good action on the ball. Let's get a profile replay, Bo, of this 5'8" bowler.
Has that 5-step delivery with a little hesitation step. See him drag the left foot, then he goes into a normal profile with a good knee bend, short arm swing, arm close to his body. Excellent extension, and good trust on that ball. Sometimes when a player hits light 2 times in a row, as he did in the first and second frames, he makes the adjustment too much to the right and pulls the ball high. Henry, a good shot there in the third. Needs a double here in the fourth to cut Pete Weber's lead to 14.
Coming up high, and now he'll have to cover the 6-pin.
Well, there's the little pull we're talking about. Never really gave it a chance. It went right through the heart. He avoids the tough split, ends up with an easy spare of the 6-pin. Stands the extreme left-hand part of the lane. Will go over between the 3rd and 4th arrows. With a conversion, he'll trail by 24 through 4.
Now, occasionally you hear pinfall when our 2 professionals are not bowling. It's the other 2 pros practicing for their matches coming up. John Gant and tournament leader Steve Cook. More of our second match, Gonzalez-Weber, following this message. We're hoping that A.J. in his second match, his opponent in the second game, Henry Gonzalez. He defeated Jerry Kessler of Seward, Nebraska in the first, 232 to 215. Now he's on the right lane. And he was coming off a 3-bagger and maybe rushed it a little bit as he left 2, 4, 5, 7 on the right lane. Look at him concentrate. All the little checkpoints that he has to do now. Just a bit to the right of center. Again, using all of the approach. Well, it's an open frame. He knew it the minute he released the ball, leaving the 7-pin. So that opens the door for Henry Gonzalez. And here is Bo with a guest. Bo?
Thank you, Chris. This man had a great, promising baseball career, John Gant, but you gave it up for your love of bowling and for another reason. Tell us about it.
Well, my wife and I were expecting a baby, and she was in medical school. And we decided that the best thing for me to do was to stay home and take care of the baby, and I could bowl also. And that's what I wanted to do.
Your wife's now a doctor at Allegheny Medical College or Medical Hospital?
Yes, in Pittsburgh, yes.
Okay, this man says he wants to say hello to everybody in Cincinnati. John, good luck today.
Thank you, Bert.
Back to you, Chris.
Okay, and Pete Weber. Not such good luck. He was leading by 24, lost 16 pins as a result of the open frame. And now he's faced with a 4-pin on the left lane. So the match is tightened. It's the second match of our live telecast from Celebrity Sports Center in Denver. Carefully, and it just comes up, covers it. Pete now will have to collect himself, looking back at Dee Dee, his wife, as Gonzalez gets up, and he has a spare working, shooting in the 5th frame of the second match, trailing by 8.
Chris, we saw Weber leave the 2-4-5-7, and we've said as we see Henry Gonzalez's wife, who made the short trip up from Colorado Springs, we said strikes are easy to come by, but spares are the trick. See what Henry does.
And Paula Gonzalez, along with you, saw beautifully. Gonzalez, 170-pounder.
Henry has 3 children. In fact, Henry and Paula did the work, I guess. Chris just gave birth to another child, Amy, who is now 3 months old. As you see, a ideal shot by Henry Gonzalez. In the 5th frame, he trails by 8 pins, can take the lead here in the 6th with a double.
What all of us try for is a shot like the last. Another high hit, and the fans tell you that it's Problemsville. 4-7-10.
Henry just confused on the left-hand lane. Remember, he hung in the 2nd frame. He went wide for a washout. Then he made the adjustment in the 4th frame. He went right through the heart, broke it up for an easy split. That time, he not only pulled the ball a little bit, but he raised up at the line, anxious to get it. And then he has to go for it, a tough shot.
Went all out, and it's an open frame for the man who won his first PBA title at the Quaker State Open in 1977 in Grand Prairie, Texas. Like Henry, this bowler with 2 PBA wins. And Weber with that spare up. Back to a 20-pin lead now. Shooting in the 6th frame. Winner to meet John Gant.
Come on, yeah.
I don't know, Bo, but each time he does his own cheerleading, he gets results.
Well, Pete does a lot of bowling. He's a full-time pro out here, and he even still bowls in the league at home. In fact, they have a pretty awesome Weber team with Papa Dick on there and Brother Rich and Brother John, and Pete gets home to occasionally bowl, so they should be quite contenders in a tremendous league they have in St. Louis, the Masters League, the St. Louis Masters, starting the 84-85 season, bowls in 32 different houses. Good experience for those young players and great talent.
And running that one out, down on his knees, Pete Weber getting that double, putting him out to a 30-pin lead. Watch this.
Well, he's following his strategy to a T, Chris. He said he's going to play the outside line and just cut it loose with all power, and that's what he's doing. He's stealing strikes everywhere.
Now from another angle.
Watch this pin action. Watch the head pin. That's the key pin. Goes to the sideboard. Here it comes.
All the excitement of the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. More of it following this Tucson for the Tucson United States. Showboat PBA Doubles Classic, the final stop of the spring tour. So here we are today, Bo, in Denver. I know a city you love. And here's a man that was born in California, but has enjoyed all the years that he's lived in Colorado.
Chris, he started his bowling at Fort Carson while he's stationed here in the service at Fort Carson, Colorado. And as you said, he was raised in California, got his degree in mechanical engineering at Santa Monica College in 1971, but he's made professional bowling his career for the last 7 years.
And Henry Gonzalez, pleased that he did so well, finishing third here this year, because the best ever at Celebrity Sports Center was 16th. Now with the double, it'll really tighten things up.
The footwork of Henry Gonzalez. Watch this stutter step. He takes that big first step, a short second step. Then he drags that third step to get his timing down, a hesitation timing step. Then he makes a perfect shot at the line. That's the 7th frame shot. Henry trails by 30, and here's the key shot of the whole match for Henry. He hasn't even been close on the left-hand lane. Trails by 30, can cut Weber's lead to 20. To get in the match, he must strike here.
All but the 10, the man that finished second last year in the Firestone Tournament of Champions to Joe Berardi.
The story of this match right here mirrored in this shot. The 10-pin left by power of Weber is defeating the accuracy of Henry Gonzalez, as you see Henry and wife Paula and daughter Jennifer sitting there.
Dr. Henry not satisfied with what he's been able to do thus far. So now it's Weber with a double up, shooting in the 8th, leading by 30. Can go out to a 40-pin lead.
Counting off the, what I guess we have to call the panels. As he keeps his eye down there, he has a normal 5 dots on the approach in the approximate same place that they'd be on wood lanes, but you have to just kind of make a guesstimate when you're standing outside the dots. Here's a key shot for Weber.
Come on, ball, set up. All right.
Talking to it all the way. Like he had a string on that bowling ball. 40-pin lead now by Weber, and he wants a re-rack on the left lane.
Pete Weber, 40-pin lead, a possible 254. Henry Gonzalez, if he could strike out, would have a 214. For Weber, the situation is the exact same he had in his first match. He just has to stay clean and out of trouble the last 2 frames, and he'll have this match under his belt and go in the semifinal against John Gant.
Defeated Jerry Kessler in the first match, 232 to 215.
All right, baby, come on.
Wireless mic perfectly placed on Pete Weber. Dee Dee, his wife, likes it too.
The whole story of the match right there. You see Pete Weber carried out the 10-pin. That's the same shot that Henry Gonzalez, with a little less power, failed to carry in the 8th frame. He has backed Henry into a closet. Almost no way to open the door.
But he'll keep trying. The loser of the first match, Jerry Kessler of Nebraska, $4,000. The loser of this game will get $5,000.
Sol in the pit. Henry, no trouble on lane 62 of this 80-lane bowling center. Lane 63, he's been confused since the first frame. He was close there in the 8th, but even if he figures it out here in the 10th, it looks like it's too late. The best he can shoot is 2:04. Pete Weber going at a 2:34 pace.
Sort of a smile of resignation, but nevertheless, strange things can happen.
If he doesn't strike, he cannot win the match. Pete Weber, even if Gonzalez would strike out, would only need 3 pins to win the match. Lock it up.
Great finishing bowling by Henry Gonzalez, who finished 3rd in the overall championship field of 160. There were 18 left-handers, 142 right-handers. And coming up next, you'll see 2 of the 18. This is Paula Gonzalez, mother of 2, Jennifer and Chad. Two, 4, 5, 8 with a even 200, and Pete Weber is in clover.
Yeah, just has to keep it on the lane, Chris. 2 pins is all he needs. Just stay behind the foul line and keep it on the lane. Still has a possible 254, though. There's a winner right there.
Pete Weber wins his second match of the afternoon, another step closer to his third PBA title. Pete Weber will next go against John Gant of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The final score in that match, following 252, Pete Weber defeating Henry Gonzalez, who shot an even 200. So now it's John Gant going against Weber in the semifinal match. Before that starts, the Rollage
On the Professional Bowlers Tour, all you young people, there's still a chance to really improve.
Roger. That 3-year-old, I don't ever want him as an opponent. He's good.
He's got an early start, and what a charmer he is. He really had the crowd rolling. Even here, I'm sure everybody enjoyed it at home. And here's a man that's going to have a lot of good years on the tour. The buzzsaw, they call him. Look at this ball.
Whoa. Well, baseball's loss as a pitcher is bowling's gain. And the man that has 16 strikes, B2, Pete Weber, has his work cut out for him now here in the semifinal match.
All right, baby.
All right, baby. We're all even.
Pete Weber, 3 in a row last match, 6 in a row the first match, throws that tremendously powerful bowling ball. And he has his hands full with John Gant here, though, who throws another power ball. We're down to 3 power players. Steve Cook, we all know, tremendous power. Gant, watch him in this match against Weber. And, of course, Weber has already shown us his power. Come on, stop!
So there's another double for 21-year-old Pete Weber. Last time on TV, he was blown out of his dad's bowling lanes by Nelson Burton Jr. Took something out of Nelson's page and has really come on strong here today, but he's in against the Tiger.
Just rips him apart, Chris. Look at him. He's red hot. But here comes the buzzsaw. Watch this ball.
John Gant, 6'2", 190 pounds. And here's the story on him. Hobbies, all sports. Can play them all, too.
Chris, what a tremendous story of dedication to his family. As he said in his little interview, he gave up that baseball career because his wife was pregnant, wanted to finish medical school, and now she's a doctor at the hospital near their home. Great family.
And his wife, Bev, will love that. Bev starting her residency in July. And this semifinal match, next step is the championship match. Who will it be? Well, Weber with 2 strikes in a row. Stay even now. He has to strike here in the 3rd frame.
Fingertip grip has finger grippers in the finger holes. PBA is not allowed to plug a bowling ball, so you can use the grippers to change that grip.
3 perfect shots by each.
The full approach, 17 feet, used by Pete Weber. I'll almost start calling him Dick Weber now. He's looking more like his daddy every day with that big ball, that aggressive style. He's perfect through 3. His opponent, John Gant, perfect through 3. Who will break first? 19 strikes, 26 attempts, a 242 average.
Okay, 4th frame.
Oh, shoot.
High hit, and it's a 4.
Nothing. We've synthetic lane surface. When that ball gets in that dry zone, and there it gets in it very quickly, the ball just breaks wildly at the back end. He cuts right through the heart, the 4, 6, 7, 10. Pete will just go for the 2 pins on the left, save the count, and hope he can catch up a little later in the match.
And it's an open frame, one of the few for Pete Weber today, who's been bowling beautifully. This match will, because we're running short. Look how this happened.
Chris, and watch the action of the head pin. It drives through the right sideboard and all the way back. Well, that was a solid hit in the 4th to give him 4 in a row. Then he left the 7 pin in the 5th frame. Broke it.
He's back there after an open frame. He did that earlier in the competition today. Opened and then came back with a 2 and 252, and he's 2 victories right now, trailing, but he can cut it to 14 with a strike on the left lane.
Weber has to guard against problems on the left-hand lane. The left-hand lane is the tighter of the 2 lanes. 61 and 62 in this 80-lane bowling center is the tighter of the 2, but pros have a tendency to help the ball up on the tight lane. Let's see what he does in this frame. Can cut that lead of Gant's to 14.
All right.
There it is.
Like that. Ooh. Two fierce competitors in the semifinal match, all of it from Celebrity Sports Center in Denver. And with 4, marked with a spare in the 5th, John Gant shooting in the 6th.
Here's the 5th frame miss of Gant, the buzzsaw we call him. Watch the head pin go to the side where he just slams across and misses the 7th pin, or he would have had 5 in a row.
6'2", 190 pounds.
I think he gets more revolutions on the bowling ball than any player I've seen come up since Marshall Holman came up years back and had that just awesome style, which he's somewhat tempered down in the last few years. Gant, the 14-pin lead can extend to 24 here in the 7th.
And not only his style, but what he's done this year, cashing at 8 of 13 events. John Gant is in serious contention for Rookie of the Year honors. Gant against Weber. More from Denver after this. And we're in Denver. The winner to meet, Big Steve Cook, 6'7", 200. Well, he's lost some weight. We'll give him about 245 today, but he is a tremendous competitor. And whomever he meets, whether it's this man or Weber, will be a severe test.
Weber trailing by 24, 7th frame double working. We cut the lead of Gant down to 14. We have a strike on here.
Oh, he got him on a thin hit. 3 in a row.
The head pin as it leaves goes the ball. The head pin to the side where there's a 2-4-5. Now watch the. There's the 4 between the 2-8. It splices the 2 pins. The 8 goes backwards. The 2 pin forward. He stays in the match. Can cut that lead down to 4 pins as he showed that power sign. Of course, he shows it with his bowling ball every time he cuts it loose. We got a great match.
No. The 2-4-10.
Very close to the same shot. He just got that lucky break on in the 7th frame, but he doesn't quite hit the 2-4 range, and he leaves the 2-4. Now he's got a tough split. He needs to convert this to stay close in the match.
Only in horseshoes. Close. And that certainly was close.
Somebody told me. Okay. With a chance to bowl a 279 game. He has a 29-pin lead, double working, 8th frame. He could put Weber in real trouble with a strike here.
And we have a 310 facing John Gant, possible Rookie of the Year here in '84 from Pittsburgh.
A left-hander, Chris, because the ball's breaking sharply as it goes from left to right across the lane. He wants to hit the 3-pin on the right-hand side, let the ball carry into the 10. There it is, 2-1. I'd even say it's even a little less for a top player like Gant.
Well done. John Gant of Pittsburgh, winner of 2 regionals, 1 in Grand Rapids.
Gant with that gangly style, big 4-step delivery, tremendous power position. Look at that wrist, look at that body, and look at the length of that last stride, that pivot step, and the tremendous wrist action. He's going at a 2:37 pace. He needs to stay clean to win the match and put the pressure on Weber. Weber, a possible 2:30 still.
He's awesome. John Gant.
Well, for the man here with 211, Pete Weber has to strike out to have any chance of winning. Bob Hanley, of course, continues to lead the average with 212.
Delivering the goods here in Denver. Young man that took 4 weeks off drug and alcohol rehabilitation, and it's worked. Taken a lot of work on his part. He said he had a lot of help from upstairs.
For Weber, the scoreboard tells the story. He must strike here in the 10th, the next ball in the 11th, and then hope that John Gant fails to mark in the 10th frame. No matter what Weber does, Gant with a mark can win. Weber fails to strike it. He's still in it.
One of the most exciting pro competitors in all sports, 21-year-old Pete Weber, Florissant, Missouri. That rehabilitation process. Nutrition, gained 9.5 pounds, Bo.
That's with a bowling ball in his hand. Now it's legitimate.
Nearly 410.
Nearly lost the ball, but the match went by the wayside with that shot. He wonders what happened. The ball just went too far down the lane before it makes a break. Look at it hanging right on the, well, we can't call it the last board again. I guess we call it a panel. Tries to make the break back, but he runs out of lane, has the washout. The best he can do is end up in the 2 teens. Gant's got this match won.
And the man that averages in his first 2 victories, 242. He's hot, he's disappointed, but he'll be back. Now a look at first-year PBA member John Gant. Cashed an 8 of 13 bets. He is something. So he goes into that final match against Steve Cook, and Pete Weber will get $6,000. So coming up next, Gant and Cook, 2 left-handers. Professional Bowler Spring Tour will continue after this message and a word from our local stations.
I took Rolaids for 10 years. Now I get better relief from Tempo.
With Tempo? No more.
Won the first 2 matches, 9 strikes, 255 to 215. That victory now, we have an all left-handed final here in the Denver. Next game, we'll get 16,000 runner-up, 8250. Weber with 6, Gonzalez with 5, and Kessler with 4 today. What about the other finishers, Nelson?
In 6th place, Mike Morris. Steve Martin with a 300 out of his slump. The national champion Chamberlain. Lefty Bobby Jacks. Big Bill Straub from the University of Nebraska. Couture up there again. All-world Holman. Leroy Barnhoff, who did well at the True Value. The Tornado. Williams, who's playing in a horseshoe pitching tournament just today in Springfield, Missouri. The Beefcake, Brian Voss, David Ozio up there, Mark Fay, Sam Macarone, Larry Lobb, who gives lessons in his hometown Tucson, will be back home next week. Randy Johnson and Mike Barish round out to 24, Chris, and we're ready with still another practice ball with Steve Cook. He gets 8 practice balls on the championship pair before he decides which lane he'd like to start on and make his opponent finish on the other lane. So that's his last shot. He has to make that decision now and get ready for the championship match.
So we have 2 left-handers. 6 feet 7 inches tall. PBA member against the ex-baseball player, John Gant, looking for his first PBA title. A lot at stake. Steve's 4th championship round appearance this year. He finished 5th in the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Different style than John Gant, but lofting it out.
It's about the only thing he's ever had go straight since then. He was the nationally ranked archer at age 12. It was a chip out of the track, his roll ball. It's not his thumb hole. As we see Gant go for his
9 on the right lane for Gant of Pittsburgh.
An inauspicious start for Gant as he leaves a difficult 3-9. The ball sliding just by, not finishing like it did in the first match against Pete Weber. Has to make sure to hit the 3-pin on the left side and let the ball carry back into the 9. Double wood spares are always a little tougher.
So a bad break for John Gant, who had that 255 in the previous match, leaves the 9.
Well, a little bit as the power players have a little trouble with spares, as was evidenced by Gant missing that one. Plus, on the synthetic lane surface, we've noticed over the years that players get a lot of strike. So let's see if Gant can come back with a strike here in the 2nd.
Leaving a 7-pin on the left lane. His biggest game this week was 290, 255 here today on our telecast. Cook's biggest game was 298.
The other appearance for John Gant was in the Miller High Life Classic in Miami, Florida. We'll be going back there next year.
6 300s in the Denver Open this year at Celebrity Sports Center. Sean Christensen, Bob Learn, Marshall Holman, Carmen Salvino, George Steinbach, and Steve Martin.
And Sean Christensen, Chris, bowled 3 300 games in the tournament. Only the 6th player to ever do that in PBA history.
The 3-pin. Steve was rooting for that 3-pin to go. He's the tournament leader, and it's a position, though, he prefers.
Well, he's such an aggressive player, Chris, as you see his style. 5-step delivery, 6 feet 7 inches tall, 260 pounds, and he is in really good shape right now. He's slimmed down for the spring tour. He was around 285 this winter, as you see his style. Just tremendous knee bend and follow through. And he likes that number 1 position because that's a good spot for an aggressive player.
Such a big man he is. Graceful and beautifully coordinated. Finished second in the Denver Open last year, losing eventually to Tom Milton. But on the way, he defeated Earl Anthony, now retired from competition. 6'7", 260, fishing and hunting, Roseville, California, his home. Nice autograph.
The last time 2 left-handers played for the championship was in the Syracuse Open 1983. Cook was one of those 2 players. He lost the match to Joe Salvemini. Cook against Gant for all the money.
.6'2", 190 pounds. Gant will bowl next.
Looked like a freight train coming in there that time. You hear that ball rolling over that chip spot out of the track part of the ball, and just boom, all 10 pins in the pit. Both the left-handed players have been light or a little wide on the right-hand lane.
And the whip, the tanker, as you call him, the buzzsaw, had 9 strikes in his victory over Pete Weber.
He turned up the juice that time, Chris.
I guess he is contender for 84 Rookie of the Year honors.
Here's the ball. As watch it drives right through the 1, 2, and watch the ball go right through the 5 and into the 8. Here you go. The tremendous power of the buzzsaw. Look at that ball turning over. Bingo, nice shot.
Power in any sport, such an asset. You name it, and power helps. There's the man from Pittsburgh, John Gant. At the moment, 1 pin separates these 2 southpaws. A little behind our 10 pin. We don't know how, but now trying to mark with a spare.
Chris, when we look back on this match, we may see that the 4th frame. What happened is Gant got that very fortuitous break in the, as you see the spare, the action line tracer making the 10 pin of Steve Cook. But Gant got the tremendous break in the 4th frame for a double, and Steve Cook was very unlucky. He left a solid 10 as he drove the 6 pin right over the top of the 10. That's a big switch around. If Cook had gotten a double and Gant an open.
Championship match. And the rumble left that, the 5-10 on the left lane. Disbelief on the part of Steve Cook from Roseville, California.
He was playing, and another misfortune strikes him here in the 5th frame. 5-7 or 5-10 for Steve Cook. Really, it was on a light shot, a wall shot. Now here, watch the action of the head pin. And the normally every time catch the 5 pin coming across. No good break for Steve Cook. Has a difficult split. Needs this to stay in the lead.
All out. Little dissatisfied. Ray finished at the line, sticking. But he went for conversion of the 5-10. And that immediately puts Gant into a 13-pin lead here in the championship. Win. Second, the Miller High Life qualified 4th, but lost to the eventual winner, Ricky Sajak. Oh, he jumps right on it. University of Cincinnati baseballer.
John Gant, the buzzsaw, takes advantage of that break he got in the fourth frame to open up a 23-pin lead halfway through the championship match. But don't count this. Gant ahead by 23, but Cook is very tough. He won't give up.
Well, if you stop 55 to 215 and 9 strikes. Cook, after an open frame, trailing by 33, will be shooting in the 6th frame. Big frame. Okay. Earlier we had a chance to ask Steve about breaking a thumb and the troubles coming back to bowling. We asked him what helped him to get in shape again.
Well, last summer I did go to a batting cage, and one hit me in the thumb, and I broke it, and went right into this winter. And I really wasn't sure what it was, and I found out I just had my tape a little off center, which was causing me to hang, and I just moved it back, to the back and it's worked ever since.
Off sponge to kind of cushion the pressure on his thumb. And it looks like he's still hanging in the ball a little bit today, as you see quite a bit of loft on his shot. Lead of Gant to 23.
7 pin on the left lane. 7 years a PBA member, 7 titles. The last 5 years, he's had at least 1 title to his credit. None here in 84.
Gant has missed the pocket 2 times in 6 frames. Steve Cook has not missed the pocket, yet he trails by 33 pins if he converts the spare. As he changes to a harder ball approach, he slips when he gets out of the strike zone. No, good shot.
Good. Up now is 26-year-old John Gant. John with a 4-bagger, now shooting in the 7th. Can add to his 33-pin lead. Five in a row. All week long, some big scores, 6 300 games.
Here's the line of the buzzsaw as he starts it over the first arrow out near the end of the lane and driving all 10 pins in a pit. 5 strikes in a row, a 5-bagger, a 43-pin lead. Gant's in the driver's seat, has a chance for his first title.
Here's Celebrity Sports Center. Sunday and Tuesday pro-ams, a total of 1,300 adults. Popular indeed.
Steve Cook hasn't had any good breaks at all. He got a tap in the 2nd, got an unlucky solid 7 in the solid 10 in the 4th frame, the 5-10 off the wall in the 5th, the solid 7 in the 7th. He's only going on 186 pace. He has a possible 216. It's his only chance.
Wave goodbye to the 10.
Got a good break. Watch the pin action over in the right-hand corner. See the 3-pin go between the 6-10. Trip it out. The first good break for Steve Cook. Let's see if it's... Absolutely a must situation. If Steve Cook does not strike on this ball, and there's how he got here through 6 rounds, 42 games, he ended up qualifying first. If he doesn't strike, it's all over. See you later. What happens with that, Chris? Gil Sliker gets knocked out of the Firestone. This man knows the results. It's a lapper for Gant, his first title, but by no means will it be his last. This is a star now. Cook's still out there working hard, trying. Hasn't missed a...
Well, there's an intern in Pittsburgh. John Gant's wife. Mighty happy.
And also $16,000 richer, plus you'll have to take a week off next April for that Firestone. Has a possible 269.
And here he can punt with a 6-8.
Yeah, he can take a safety automatic. He leaves a 6-8, the first bad break he's had, but it came at a time where it makes no difference. It's 196. John Gant, the likable John Gant, the buck to come.
So typical of his style, went all out trying to convert the 6-8 here on the right lane. But he has won the Denver Open. Very first championship for this man in his second appearance. Earlier this year in the Miller High Life Classic in Miami, qualified fourth. Had to win 2 matches in order to get the $16,000 and a unique trophy. And now he's just throwing them down there because he is assured of money and the trophy.
Well, this kind of mirrors the difficulty that these players play on all week long, Chris. He lets up a little bit, eases off on the shot. Here he gets a split in the 9th, a split again in the 10th, which is a little more makeable, but it shows the difficulty they have to contend with all week long.
The guy who this week Cook averaged 226.9. That's the way he did it.
And in the first match, and the 2-7 in this match.
.223 of his 9 strikes in his other win over Pete Weber. Steve Cook, a 7-time winner. We'll be back. One of the best in the business.
Levitt and Neil Griffin. It gives me great pleasure to present this silver medallion and, more importantly, I guess, a $16,000 check.
Thank you, Tom. I want to thank everybody at Celebrity Lanes for having a great tournament, and I'll be back next year.
Bo's name for you is Buzzsaw. We have a feeling you will.
I hope so.
Say hello to the doctor, your wife.
Hello, Bev and Evan.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris, a great champion, and Steve Cook, 5-10 off the wall.
Well, I don't know. I knew John was going to shoot a good game, so I decided to come out and throw some strikes. And he had an opening. I got a chance to, get it on him and left a solid 10. And I thought I threw a good shot and left a 5-10 off the wall. I don't know how it stood up, but it happens sometimes. John bowled good all week, and, he deserves to win.
Well, Chris, they say if you